Update. I made my dad choose between me and his new family. Original post. My father of 52 and I 25 female along with my 3-year-old Cocker Spaniel Moxie live in my mom's ancestral house that I inherited along with other assets when she died when I was 16 due to cancer. My father got married to his high school sweetheart a few months ago while he was on a trip with his friends. Apparently they've been in contact for almost 2 years now. I was shocked, but it's his life, and if he's happy then I'm okay with it. They moved in a week after the small wedding that I wasn't even invited to since I had no idea that they were even dating or that he was dating. She, my dad's wife that we call Steph, 51, came with the baggage. I mean, twin stepsisters, 20 female Lizzie and Lexi, fake names, and their 2 chihuahuas, Gucci and Hermes. They go to the state college nearby and thought that it would save them money if they live here instead of paying rent, etc. My dad asked if it was okay, and he also stated that the house is big enough for us. 7 bedrooms, 8.5 baths, a basement, and a huge yard with a pool. To make my dad happy, I said yes. Big mistake. First issue was the argument of me moving to a smaller room since my room has the second biggest closet of all of the rooms in the house. She needed it to store all her luxury bags and clothes, etc. I said no. I told her it's been my room since I can remember, and she's not making me move when it's my house. My dad compromised with her that he'll give his side of the closet to her while his things are in the other room. Second issue, the twins have this habit of barging into people's room without knocking, and that includes my office, currently working from home due to COVID. Lexi walked in one time wearing a bikini looking for something while I was in the middle of a business meeting. She literally walked behind me where everyone could see her. I was pissed off and embarrassed. Third, their dogs are not potty trained and would leave poops and pee around the house, and the twins wouldn't even clean up after them. They're also very aggressive towards Moxie. I found Moxie one time with a scratch on her left eye when the other 2 dogs would usually nip out when they get the chance. Fourth, all the family photos in the house were removed and put in the attic without my approval. That includes my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my mother's family photo, my baby pictures, etc. I took my time to put them all back to where they belonged. This happened a few times. Then 2 days ago, Steph did it again. But this time she replaced them with her pictures, the twins and her family, etc. Steph and I had a heated argument about it. I told her that she can't do anything regarding the decorations, etc. in my house without my approval, and that her daughters should also learn how to knock on doors and have their dogs potty trained. She said that they can do whatever they want in her house and that she will be making up house rules that we will all follow, since she thinks I'm such a wild animal doing whatever I want, and that I was not raised properly due to having a bad, useless mother. To say I was livid was an understatement. I told her that she can pack her things along with her twins because I'm kicking her out. She said that I have no right to kick them out from her house. I told her, and I quote, "Lady, you are living under my roof. This is my house. I inherited it from my mother, and right now you, your twins, and your dogs are trespassing. Get out before I call the cops." My dad got home early that day after Steph told him what happened. I told him my side of the story, and he said that they're still getting used to the house and the move here was difficult for them. I told him about all the issues surrounding them, but he kept insisting that it's going to get better and that to just give them some time. I told him that I've put up with all their crap and I've had enough. Enough is enough. He was defending them more and taking their side, so I told him that he can either move out with them or stay, and that he has until the end of the week. Did I do the right thing here, making my dad choose between me and his new family? I literally gave them a chance that I've put up with so much of their awfulness for the past few months. Which is sad about my mother was my breaking point. There's no way that she will disrespect her in the house where she grew up in, where I grew up in. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Definitely yes. Good for you. Literally my first thought, nodding like, yes, good. They sound terrible. Girl, you did what you had to do and I would 100% do the exact same thing. Your father, on the other hand, needs to grow some spine. It seems like she got him wrapped around her fingers. I doubt it was even his idea to get married without inviting you. If he ends up choosing them, just cut them out. Go no contact. You don't need that kind of toxicity in your life. Also, make sure that he can't contest your inheritance regarding the house just so they can stay there. You know, people these days. I hope it turns up in your favor. Don't put the secret wedding on the wife. Daddy Dearest dated for 2 years hiding it so hard that Opie had no clue whatsoever. Even if this was her idea, Daddy Dearest was totally in support of it. Yes, This amount of entitlement to your father's wife and stepdaughters is absurd. I am so glad you kicked them out. As far as your dad, his behavior is also pretty terrible. The whole thing where, whoops, I got married, didn't tell you. And oh, by the way, can my new family move in? He is not showing any courtesy, respect, and honesty. I wouldn't be surprised if the wedding was the stepmom's idea, especially not inviting the daughter of the man you're marrying. Like, what is that? Now for the first update. So, just a quick update. I've read the comments and thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. It does make it seem like I'm a pushover. Well, maybe I am. I just don't like confrontation, arguing, or anything that ends up fighting with someone. I'm just not that type of person. I will be changing the locks around the house as some of you suggested. Unfortunately, the gate at the property is old and rusted, and it's been open for who knows how long, so I can't really do much about it right now. Anyway, I called the same lawyer that handled my mom's will to review if there's any loophole or any chance that my dad can contest it. I'll be seeing her in a couple of hours. Regarding my dad, he's a good man. It has worked hard to provide for me my needs when my mom died. He's never asked me to tap on my money to help with the living expenses, etc. He makes a decent amount of money as an engineer, like 6 figures, so I don't think he's after my money. I could be wrong though. I just think that he's blinded that someone still finds him attractive at his age. Also, didn't help how it was his high school sweetheart. I've also talked to him about his impromptu wedding and how he kept things from me. He just said that he didn't know how I was going to react if I knew that he was dating the ex-girlfriend before he met and married my mom. I was pissed off, but I got over it since he seemed happy having her around. I don't know what their whole story is or if there's a bad blood between her and my mom to make her lash out like that and disrespect her. Steph and her evil spawns are staying somewhere in town. No idea where, and I don't care or want to find out. They have the money to take care of themselves, and if they run out, they always have their luxury bags to sell. Honestly, who needs so much bag that they require a whole closet just to store them? If anyone's wondering where my relatives are, well, my mom was an only child and grandparents left her everything. When my mom died, I got most of what she inherited. She left some to my dad as well. My grandparents on my dad's side lives about 6 hours away with my uncles and aunts. It's literally just me and my dad here and Moxie. Moxie's doing well. She's happier and seems to enjoy the quietness around the house. I will update as soon as I can, but thank you for all the support. Sounds like you're safe, and good that they moved out. You did the right thing by kicking them out. It is just so entitled and disrespectful. I would also suggest you keep anything sentimental as well as anything valuable to you locked up, just in the off chance she comes back and destroys some of your pictures, etc. This is a very good idea. And I would also suggest that Opie take video, photograph, keep a ledger or a spreadsheet, etc. But Opie needs to document and keep a record of any and everything of monetary and sentimental value. Girl, how big is your property? Sounds like it's old money passed down for generations. There's nothing wrong with being kind, but sometimes you just have to toughen up and grow some spine, which is what you did. Keep your valuables somewhere safe until they're 100% out of your life. If you can't afford to live in a house by yourself, if things turns out bad, rent the rooms, but make sure they sign a lease or something. Your dad doesn't sound that bad, just made some wrong decisions on his part. Your dad didn't tell you he was dating and getting married because he wasn't sure how you'd take it, but had no issues moving them into your house? You need to reevaluate your relationship with him. That's bananas. I mean, it's most likely she talked him into it, but that just goes to show he likely cares more about her than you. Sorry, that's a rough situation. I don't know how I'll handle it, but I think you did the right thing by booting them. I've also talked to him about his impromptu wedding and how he kept things from me. He just said that he didn't know how I was going to react if I knew that he was dating the ex-girlfriend before he met and married my mom. Very likely lies Opie. Daddy didn't want you to be upset that he was dating, but he didn't care you might be upset he got married. Without telling you, without inviting you. He didn't care if you were unhappy with him wanting to drag his secret wife and her spawn into your home. He doesn't care that you're unhappy with a witch who is claiming your home as hers, redecorating as she pleases, allows her spawn to do as they please, including injuring your dog, and risking your job, and trash talks your mother. His explanation is that the move has been hard on them. He doesn't give a rat's head how hard this has been on you. I'm sorry, Opie, but your dad caring about how you feel has nothing to do with his actions. It's how he feels that is important to him, and how Wifey Pooh and her spawn feel. And now here's the second update. So, I spoke with my mother's previous lawyer, Amy, fake name, about the issue on Saturday and asked if there's a way to contest the will. She showed me the documents and my dad and I both signed an agreement, in summary, that we agree on what was left to us and that we will not be contesting it in the future. Mom for the win. She also advised to give them at least 30 days to find a place and move out to avoid any legal troubles, etc. So inheritance issue is solved. Saturday night, I was supposed to have dinner with just my dad. Apparently, a private discussion between father and daughter is a whole family affair. The Stephen twins were there. To make it quick and to end the misery, I stated that I spoke with Amy regarding the house and other legal issues. I also added that they have 30 days to find a place and move out. Steph tried to object, but Dad shut her down by saying that we can't fix the issue, and that we can all go to family therapy and that we just need time to get to know each other. Cue my eyes rolling. I informed him that it's been months since they moved in, and not once did they try to be family, unless they need something. I put my foot down, enough is enough. So I asked him if he's going with them or staying, so I'll know which items he'll be taking. He asked if I'm kicking him out, which I told him I'm not. That is free to choose to wherever he goes, but I told him that he should not expect me to keep in contact with him if he decides to leave. Steph asked why I'm kicking him out of his house. I told her that I inherited my house from my mother. She said that I told her that I live with him. I guess she thought that I live with my dad in his house. Big misunderstanding on their part. Lexi argued that it's going to be hard to move since they're finishing up spring semester, and that finals are in a couple of weeks. I just smiled and said to better hurry and find a place. I left after that. Yesterday, Easter Sunday, I invited my boyfriend and his family and my two best friends over to celebrate Easter Sunday. My dad has been calling me and I didn't bother answering the call. He tried to invite me to spend a day with them. As far as I'm concerned, the only family I have right now are my two best friends, my boyfriend and his family. It was a good Sunday. We did some egg hunting and a few games and had a big dinner, which I haven't had in a long time. I felt right. Anyway, right now I'm finishing up on documenting everything that's worth over $500 in the house. I had a few people over to help document them. All locks have been changed. I only gave a copy to my boyfriend. Don't worry about my dad asking him about the key. Dad doesn't approve of him since he's middle class. He also hired professionals to install a security system around the house and property, and I am scheduled to meet with someone regarding the fences and gate. I have not tapped into the fund that my mom left since I started college to help with tuition, dorm, and other expenses, but this is an emergency and it calls for it. All the family pictures, portraits, etc. are currently in a storage. All other valuables that are smaller in a safety deposit box. All documents are in a water and fireproof safe that requires a key and a pin to open, currently in my room. I'm trying to take all the precautions and advice that you guys wrote in the comment section in my previous post. Thank you for those. So that's about it for now. Not really sure why Dad is choosing to be with them than me, his own flesh and blood. I'll update this if there's any news or something stupid happens, but I've come to accept that for some unknown or unexplainable reason, they're more important to him than me. It's hard since he's the only family I have left here, and I'm really not that close with his side of the family. So once they move out, I'm cutting contact with them. He is a grown man and he can decide whatever the heck he wants to do with his life. Thanks for all the support and well wishes. Great job. Don't let your dad play you. He made his choice. He may try to lie to you in order to get his way. Don't let him weasel his way back in. He is out and needs to stay out. Don't be surprised if some big emergency comes up where someone claims they are sick or injured and need more time or help. That is what my family does. I cut them out 3 years ago. In the last month alone, according to the harassment, my grandpa needed blood and had a rare issue, and they wanted me to get tested. Never said what to get tested for. My grandma has a stroke. The doctors say if it was a stroke, it was small and there's no damage. My sister wants to divorce her husband and my parents aren't supportive. Why is my mom leaving frantic voicemails about how my sister needs any support? Now that grandpa has pneumonia or congestive heart failure, not to be cold, but he is 90 and in poor health, and he is going to die, and there is nothing I can do about it. They treat me like a monster because I don't care. I actually care very much, but when every month is like this and that, it loses meaning. They manufactured emergencies so things can never get better and they have an excuse. You make sure to keep up the great work and document everything. You are doing great. This is a very good point. Those people are going to come up with crazy reasons to get back in. The stepmom's sleeping with him, so he will choose whatever keeps her in his bed. It's pathetic how some men, and some women, care more about getting off than their own children. I'm sorry, OP. Focus your time and energy on your boyfriend and his family. Yeah, that's my feeling too. His prick is making all the decisions. I think that now that Opie is grown up and probably established a good footing to whatever her career is, it's time for him to be happy and try for a second chance with love. He's so blinded that he didn't consult or consider her daughter before making the big decision. Granted, she's 25 and an adult, but if it's the only family she have left, then you would think he'll make better decisions. I've read worse in the AIT page, like husband cheating on wife and choosing the mistress and such, so Opie should be able to handle this. I just hope that her boyfriend isn't leeching off of her. Get that prenup ready. With her actions, it was pretty obvious that she thought it was your dad's house and you were just living in it. Hence, she asked you to give up your room because she wants your closet. She thought she can drive you out, most likely intended. Nicely played. And yes, mom for the win. This is like the re-edited story of Cinderella, when everything goes right for Cinderella but not for the stepmother or the stepsisters. Why cut contact once he moved his new family out? I know he married her without you, but I felt he should have moved them into their own place in the beginning anyway. Maybe then the two of you would have been able to salvage your relationship. But if he's trying to still be a dad to you, why not? From what I can tell, his new wife and her daughters have been extremely disrespectful to not only Opie, but the memory of her mother/his wife. Honestly, him staying with his wife and his children is him condoning their treatment of Opie and his late wife. He knows what they have been doing and saying, but instead of trying to reason with his wife and get them to apologize, he's putting the responsibility of accepting an awful relationship on his daughter. That in itself is not something a parent should ever do. Update. My family wants me to join them for Christmas after disowning me over 8 years ago. Need advice on whether to go or not to go? Original post. After being disowned 8 years ago, my family has invited me, my wife, 27 female, and daughter 1 female for Christmas. After getting conflicted advice from my friends, one of my buddies told me to post my dilemma here to see what random internet strangers would say. I, 25 male, am the youngest of 4 kids between my mom, 52 female, and dad, 54 male. My siblings are, fake names, Michael, 31 male, Sarah, 28 female, and my twin brother, Carl, 25 male. For context, growing up, I was the black sheep of the family, and I knew that from a very young age. You see, my family's full of athletes. My dad was a star basketball player for a D2 school. My mom played volleyball. Michael played soccer. Sarah played softball, and Carl was the star running back for the football team. I was never really interested in any of those physical sports, but rather I was interested in archery, which my family called a wimpy sport. My parents were always invested in my siblings, and rarely ever attended my events to the point where I basically had to beg for them to come to my tournaments. Between the ages of 14 to 16, I had taken part in about 20 tournaments, while my parents only showed up to 1. I was never neglected by them, but they were never emotionally there for me as they were for my siblings. And as a teenager, I resented that. Whenever I tried to bring this up to them, they would always call me an attention seeker. But however, this is not why I was disowned by my family. When I was 15, I began dating Amy, now 25 female, who was in the same grade as me at that time. After about 6 to 7 months of dating, I introduced her to my folks and my siblings, and they really liked her. I know I was young, but I could see myself having a future with her. Almost 2 years later, one of Amy's ex-friends told me that she had been cheating on me for a couple of months. At the time, I didn't know who the guy was, but after confronting her, she told me that it was my twin brother. She basically told me that while at first she loved me, the love she had for my brother surpasses that. Later that day, when I confronted Carl at home, I was so enraged that I sucker punched him and knocked him out. I admit that I should have not gotten violent, but years of resentment towards him and the rest of the family just burst open. In exchange for my family not pressing charges on me as I could have been tried as an adult in court, I was sent to live with my paternal aunt, 48 female, who at this point was estranged from the family and lived in another city about 2 hours away. From then on, I have not had any contact with them. At first, it was tough, but later on, with support from my aunt and her husband, 48 male, I moved on from wanting a relationship with them. I transferred to a different high school and attended a university in my aunt's city and graduated as an electrical engineer. I later met my wife and got married to her. I, at the time of my wedding, thought about inviting them, but went against it because I did not want any sort of drama at my wedding. From that point, me and my wife bought a house an hour away from my aunt and were blessed with a daughter a year ago. About a week ago, I received a Facebook message from my mother and father wanting to reconnect over Christmas at their house. I told them that I would consider it as I possibly have other plans, but would give them a clear answer soon. Later on, both Michael and Sarah sent me friend requests, which felt weird to me. My wife has told me that if I decided to go, she and my daughter would spend Christmas at my father-in-law's house, as she does not have to deal with unwanted stress as she is 2 months pregnant, and I agree with her. My question to those reading this is that, should I go and try to reconcile with my family or should I not? I am very conflicted in what to do. On one hand, they perhaps feel bad about what they did to me and want to apologize for what they did. But on the other hand, perhaps if I go there, they will try to make me apologize to Carl, which I do not want to. Any advice would be helpful. Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think you should go another time. Spend Christmas with your wife and child. Visit your family at a less stressful time to see if they have any ulterior motives. It might just be about them wanting to see their grandchildren and not so much about you, which would be hurtful to you. Yeah, I agree. Go another time. I was thinking the same thing. It could be something related to the grandkids. Spend Christmas with your wife and child. Christmas is too big of an event to meet them. Also, update us. I can't get this post out of my head. I can't imagine a parent kicking out their child who was betrayed by their other child. They might want to reconnect due to money, grandchild, I don't know. But it's weird that even his siblings texted Opie. I hope it's for good reasons though. I honestly wouldn't spend Christmas away from my pregnant wife for them. Maybe I'm missing something, but why Christmas? They could have reached out at any time and given you a chance to pick a convenient time as they're the ones trying to amend things. I don't know. It seems weird to me. I personally wouldn't go unless you desperately want them back in your life. Optics. They found out Opie has a kid and is successful, and now they're trying to heal the family so they don't look like trash who abandoned their son years ago. It's a trap. Notice they didn't open with any remorse or any sign of an apology. They want something. Money, free work, an organ, access to your babies, or just to look good to their friends. I'm not saying don't go, but keep your expectations low. Be ready for the "we need you to do X for us in order to properly reconcile" speech, and have a quick exit prepared. I don't know. As a parent, I cannot fathom going no contact with one of my children for 8 years, after my other child did something so cruel to him, so he hit him. That is just inconceivable to me. I would totally understand if my son hit his brother if he ever did something like that. Maybe wrong, and I know I'm not supposed to say that, but we're all still human. Whether you can move past the fact they abandoned you to your aunts and turned their backs for 8 years is your choice. But personally, I don't know if I could. If you can't and don't want to see them again, I doubt anyone would blame you. If they do, they don't know the full story. If they do know the full story, then they're not worth of your time either. And now for the update. I wanted to post earlier, but some things got in the way. 2 days after Christmas, my wife began to experience unbearable pain in her abdomen area, and she hardly could stand on her 2 feet. Me and her sister, a 30 female, rushed her to the hospital where we found out that my wife had suffered a miscarriage, and that the fetus had to be removed right away. Honestly, the worst part of me was explaining to my wife what had happened. Due to complications surrounding the operation, my wife was forced to stay for 2 more days. Honestly, I have been trying to stay strong for my wife and my daughter. But honestly, I'm struggling right now. On to the updates of the original post. Most of you that commented on the same day I posted told me not to spend Christmas with them because of the significance of that holiday. I agree, and decided I would spend the rest of the holidays with my wife. They never made time for me, so why should I make time for them? When I texted them this, I assumed they would try to argue with me, but rather they said they respected my opinion and could not wait to see me after the holidays. I began to do some digging into my family to try to figure out why they have reached out. Michael is a corporate lawyer who works for a major company in my hometown. But looking through his Facebook page, he has 2 daughters and was married to his wife in 2016. Sarah appears to be married to a doctor. She herself 8 years ago was studying to be a nurse, and they have a son together. I have a friend who lives in my hometown and has parents who are friends with my parents. When I asked her about Sarah, she told me that Sarah had divorced her first husband, the one she was dating 8 years ago, after he had committed mail fraud. Carl got married to Amy right after high school, and they have 2 kids together. I cannot exactly figure out what he or his wife does for a living through Facebook, but judging that they bought a big house last year in the midst of a pandemic tells me they're not really struggling. My dad seems to be going through a midlife crisis, and my mother is really into the wellness community, and then began to list the reasons of why they wanted to possibly reach out to me now. 1. Money. And likely because 8 years ago, my parents' combined salary was higher than my wife and my salary. And given that my siblings are not struggling financially makes me think money's not the reason. 2. Organ donation. Could be the case but seems unlikely, but a commenter said that it could be that Carl, given he is my twin, would be my most likely match, and I think it's unlikely because he was tagged in a Facebook post skiing just a week before Christmas. 3. Regarding my daughter. They could possibly be reaching out to me to have a relation to my daughter, but I honestly am not sure. My daughter is not the first granddaughter for my parents, so I do not know why they want to meet her. They most likely found out my daughter existed because my wife's Facebook account was public. She has since privated her account. I then contacted my aunt, the estranged one who took me in, informing her about the situation, and she explained to me why they were reaching out to me after all this time. To understand the situation, you need to understand why my aunt was estranged. My paternal grandpa, 79 male, and grandma, 76 female, had 4 children. My dad was the second oldest and my aunt was the third. My aunt after college came out to her parents as bisexual and began dating her girlfriend. My grandparents immediately disowned her and refused to have any contact with her. However, about 4 years ago, my grandpa began to reach out. About a month ago, my grandpa had been asking about me and what I was doing in life, and whether I was married or had kids. My aunt responded by calling my grandpa out for wanting to know about me after he supported Carl for what he did. That is when the whole situation changes. My grandpa told my aunt that it's because I had cheated on Amy with one of her close friends, so I deserve to be estranged. My grandpa's a religious nut, so he looks down on cheating. He had been told by my family that after the friend who I allegedly cheated with confessed to Amy, she went to Carl and Sarah for support and comfort. And when I found out about this, I confronted and brutally attacked Carl and Sarah. While Sarah was the one who tried to break me and Carl apart, I did not lay a finger on her, and I did not do that to Carl. When my aunt was telling me this, my jaw dropped. I could not believe that they hated me so much that they were willing to make up a terrible lie about me and spread it around. My aunt later told Grandpa the full truth and what truly happened, and my aunt told me he was shocked because he always thought Carl was a good kid. My grandpa then asked my aunt for my number, which she declined to give. I figured out why my parents and siblings wanted to get in touch with me. It turns out my grandpa had told my parents and my siblings that if they did not apologize for what they did to me and have me over for the family Christmas dinner, they would be cut off from his will. For context, he is a multi-millionaire. So that is why they reached out to me. Not to apologize about how they all wronged me in the past, but rather because if they did not, they would not get anything from Grandpa. What a bunch of greedy people. After hearing about this from my aunt, I decided to block all of them. Why should I respond to them? At this point, all of them are dead to me. I have a wife to support after what she went through, and a family that respects me and my in-laws. However, this does not end here, as 3 days after New Year's Eve, I received a call from an unknown number on my work phone. I'm used to getting calls from unknown numbers because of my career, but when I picked up, I heard my grandfather's voice. He most likely got my number from my company website. The first thing he did was apologize for not trying to get in contact with me for the past 8 years. He told me he was sorry that he could not be there for important events such as my graduation, a wedding, and the birth of my daughter. I was not really close to him before, so him cutting me off did not bother me. Later in the call, he told me he was so disgusted with the rest of my family that he is cutting them off his will and adding me to it. I honestly do not know how to feel about that, as the money would be helpful, but at the same time, I do not want him to use this as a way to force a relationship between me and my daughter. We talked for about half an hour. The way the call went made me think that perhaps I could build a good relationship with my grandpa, but then he told me something that got me really pissed. He told me that he was disappointed and that my daughter had not taken the family name. For context, after I got married to my wife, the issue of what last name to use as a couple came up. For some legal reasons, I was unable to change my last name to my wife's last name, but we decided as a couple that all of our future children would have her last name. I at this point unloaded on my grandpa, calling him a senile old man and many other hurtful things, and told him to never contact me ever again. The audacity of this man to say that after what I went through is something. I will not let him use the money I received in the will to control me. Even if I receive the money, I will donate it to a local charity. But he is a man of false promises, so this is unlikely. These past few weeks have been really tough for me and I hope to make it to the other side. My wife has privated her Facebook account and my in-laws have done the same. What they do to try to contact me is beyond me. Hell, they would probably hire a private detective to try to find me. I believe they do not know where I live, but you never know. I've thought to get a restraining order, but given that there are lawyers within the family means getting a restraining order will be hard. I did not really get any time to answer any questions given in my last post before it was deleted for some reason. I will do my best to answer any questions for the next day or two, but after this, I'm done using the site for a while. Thank you for all your advice and I wish you all the best in this new year. I'm so sorry for your loss, Opie. I can't begin to imagine the pain you and your wife must be experiencing right now. Your family is just absolutely chock full of some of the worst a-holes I've ever heard of, and the effing audacity of them is unmatched. They do not deserve any more of your energy. Screw them all. I really hope they don't pursue you anymore and you can focus on your family at home. Thank you for taking the time to update us, and I will hold your family in the light. Thank you. Sorry for your loss. I hope your wife gets well soon. Your family's having a difficult few weeks. Don't let those people get you. I have to say, besides Grandpa's awful comment about the last name, at least the truth is out to make those people look bad. Grandpa can keep the money. If it comes your way before you do something, think about it when you are calm. You chose good people to be family. Your wife, daughter, in-laws, and aunt. They're all that matter. The others can go to hell. I'm sorry for what you've been through, and for the loss of your child. Remember, you have support and a family that loves you. You are wanted and loved by them. Even if your parents and siblings aren't those people, you are not alone. Seek professional support and help for yourself and your wife. It's a lot you've gone through. Unfortunately, due to the new variant, it has been delayed. Offloading on your granddad might have convinced him that your aunt was full of crap, and to give your family their inheritance. Especially since they tried to convince him that you're some barely contained psycho, and you offloaded at the first disagreement with him. You were well within your rights to be offended, but you just cut off your nose to spite your face there. The guy must be old. He's going to have old-fashioned values. Did you try explaining that it's something that's done in society nowadays, or did you see red immediately? To be honest, you've had a really rough time of things, and I imagine that must have been the straw that broke the camel's back, right? I just figured you might want a fresh perspective. Much love to you, man. I really hope your missus gets better quickly and your 2022 improves quickly. To be honest, right now I do not care how he sees me. I do not want to have a relationship with him on a basis on money. This may ruin the relationship my aunt and grandpa have, but to begin with, they never really had a relationship. Update. My girlfriend 30 female overheard my 35 male family talking badly about her. Original story. My girlfriend Sammy and I have been together a bit over a year. She's absolutely wonderful. Smart, attractive, driven, educated, kind, and goofy. She's everything I've ever wanted. And up until last week, I thought my family felt the same way. Last week, I went to my parents' house for dinner. We get together as a family a few times a month as it's been a tradition with us for years now. Sammy usually joins us for these dinners, but I had work obligations, so I told my family she wouldn't be joining us that night. Halfway through dinner, I got up to go to the bathroom, and Sammy texted me that she was outside. She got off work early and came over to hang out. She would have normally walked in, which is normal, but she needed help bringing in some gifts. Sammy's leaving tomorrow for a work trip and a personal vacation to see some friends, so she won't be back until Thanksgiving. My brother and sister twins have their birthday next week, and my girlfriend had gifts for them. At this point, my family had no idea Sammy was there. We walked inside and headed to the kitchen, and we overheard my family talking. My sister was saying that she was glad my girlfriend was gone, because she couldn't stand a family night being ruined by my girlfriend being annoying. My brother and other sister agreed about how annoying and awful my girlfriend is. My dad made a comment about how they should be nice to Sammy. Then my mom chimed in with, "Sammy's nice and all, but I can't believe Opie likes how fat she is. He can do so much better." My family, even my dad, agreed. And my sister piped up that I was dating down because I'm still rebounding from my last girlfriend, which was 5 years ago. I was floored. My family has always been so nice to Sammy and I've never heard them talk badly about her. I've never heard my family say mean things about anyone, to be honest. Sammy walked into the kitchen and dumped the presents on the counter. She was crying and mumbled something about happy birthday and then took off out the door. My family looked shocked and a bit embarrassed. I asked my family what the hell was wrong with them. I didn't stick around for an answer. I went after Sammy. She was in her car crying. Now, Sammy's usually tough, but family's super important to her. She has no family aside from an alcoholic dad that she doesn't have any contact with. My family was like surrogate's family and something she always wanted. She was overjoyed when my family welcomed her and invited her to family events. The presents she brought my sister and brother were paintings she had spent many hours working on. And yes, she is fat. But I prefer thick girls. Always have. To me, she's gorgeous and exactly what I like. But even then, she's lost about 40 pounds since we started dating. I would love her at any weight, and I'm proud of the work she's done. I have no idea what they mean about her being annoying. She comes when she's invited, usually brings baked goods or beer. She's taken my family out to dinner multiple times and is extremely generous with them. She's even become the go-to babysitter for my sister and her 2 kids, and she helped my brother get a job in her company. She pushed really hard to get him hired and put her professional reputation on the line. She's never asked for a payment or holds it over anyone. She even does the dishes when we come over for dinner. The thing that makes this even worse is I was planning on proposing to her in the next few months, but I had planned on asking my sisters to come with me to pick out her ring. Now, Sammy hasn't said much about it and hasn't talked to me much about this incident. She has always wanted a family and she doesn't understand why my family doesn't like her or what she's done wrong. She said she'd talk to me more when she gets back from her trip. I don't want to lose her over this, and I would take her over my family. Sammy hasn't been in her usual cheerful self this week, and I've got her crying more than once since this incident. I try to comfort her, but she tries to play it like she's fine. At this point, I have no idea if I even want them in my life. All of them have reached out to me with weak apologies full of justifications. I asked my mom if she had apologized to Sammy, and my mom said I could pass on the apology. To be fair to them, all of them do feel bad about what happened and seemed extra embarrassed about this. But no one can give me exact reasons why she's annoying or how she's ruined family nights. My dad is the only reasonable one that has offered to apologize to Sammy directly. What do? I don't want to get rid of my family, but Sammy matters more to me at this point. I want Sammy to know I'm fully in her corner and I don't want her to feel guilty if I have to cut out my family. Now for the top advice before reading the update. To be fair to them, all of them do feel bad about what happened and seemed extra embarrassed about this. My mom said I could pass on the apology. What? Yeah, no. These are adults. They can't apologize or not, but no one should be passing along apologies. Your girlfriend sounds like an awesome girl. If I were her, I wouldn't feel comfortable being around those people. If I were you and that was my family trashing my husband, I'd tell them to buzz right off. I had a conversation with my sister that ended in buzz off. They need to apologize directly. I would drop them until they do that. Passing on an apology from your family is adding insult to injury for your girlfriend. They don't feel bad about what they said. They feel bad because they were caught saying it. They are not in a hurry to make amends by the sounds of it. Remember, you pick your friends and girlfriends, but you can't pick your family. For that reason, families sometimes think they can get a free pass to treat you and your friends badly because they're family. BS. Families have to earn and hold your respect the same way anyone else does. And if they fail, feel no guilt in stopping having anything to do with them. Your girlfriend sounds like a keeper, your family doesn't. I think you've nailed what I'm really upset about. They don't respect me, my relationship, or Sammy. and I've lost that respect I've had for them. An apology isn't going to rebuild that respect, but it would be a start. It sounded like your dad didn't 100% agree with the conversation. He defended her before you walked in, and that's why he will genuinely apologize. The rest of your family's only embarrassed. They hadn't planned on saying those things to your face. If you tell them you plan on proposing and aren't sure if they'll stay in your lives, you'll likely hear more convincing apologies. But from what you've shared, I doubt they'll actually be sincere. You're right about my dad. He seems pretty upset about everything and offered up a genuine apology. I think I'll get him and Sammy together for an apology, and he might be the only one that I interact with in the future. I haven't told them about the proposal yet. They won't be hearing about it anytime soon. Edit. I went to bed and woke up to tons of replies. Thanks for all the advice and support, everyone. I have decided to take Sammy on a vacation for Thanksgiving. I'm on the phone with a very helpful guy that's trying to find me a hotel room that isn't booked for that weekend. No matter what happens, I think this is going to be a tradition I build with her for the future. A relaxing weekend to ourselves, while everyone else is running around buying knockoff iPads. Also, I talked to my dad briefly last night. He's pretty horrified by everything and has agreed to come over and apologize to Sammy, and do it when Sammy feels up to hearing it. I've told Sammy all of this since it happened. She knows I'm choosing her over my family and that I would choose her over anyone. And now for the update. A few people have messaged me for an update, so I thought I would post. First, thank you for all the kind words and great ideas. It really helped me get some perspective on the situation. First off, Sammy and I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We spent it out of town in a small skiing town. It was a great weekend, and we spent a lot of time talking and discussing what to do about my family. Sammy was still pretty hurt over the matter, but was adamant that I shouldn't cut all ties with my family, so I told her that all depended on my family. My mom was in denial that I wouldn't be coming to Thanksgiving. After my last post, I let her know Sammy and I wouldn't be attending. She brushed it off until the day before Thanksgiving when she called to make sure I was bringing pie. I reminded her that I wouldn't be at dinner, and she broke down crying. She told me she was sorry for hurting Sammy and would like the chance to apologize. I let her know she'd have a chance after Thanksgiving. After we got back from our Thanksgiving trip, my parents came over for dinner. I had okayed this with Sammy, and she thought my parents deserved a chance to make this right. And frankly, I think she really wanted to mend things with my family. Dinner was awkward, to say the least. My dad started out by offering Sammy a genuine apology. He told her he was extremely embarrassed and genuinely wanted to make things up to her. They had a nice chat. The talk with my mom, well, that went okay. My mom cried through most of it and tried to reinforce that she was very sorry. I couldn't tell if she was sorry or just upset that I was taking Sammy's side. I don't think Sammy was convinced either. Then a few days after dinner, my mom called Sammy and asked her to lunch to talk by themselves. Several comments in my last post mentioned that my family probably felt Sammy was annoying, simply because they felt intimidated or projecting their own issues on her. I think that was spot on. Sammy went to lunch with my mom. They had a very long, good talk about everything. She said my mom felt jealous that Sammy was so educated and had a chance to get an education. And Sammy admitted to being jealous that my mom has a big family. Sammy opened up to my mom about the situation with her own family and living on her own since she was a teenager. I think that hit my mom very hard because she's always been surrounded by a big, loving family. And I think she was horrified by her own behavior towards Sammy, who wanted to be a part of the family. Overall, I think things are better between my parents and Sammy. My younger sister reached out to Sammy after Thanksgiving. I don't think any of my siblings expected me to ditch family dinner, and I heard they were pretty upset I went on vacation instead. My sister apologized over the phone. I don't know if it was enough, but it was a good step. Sammy says she's feeling pretty neutral about my youngest sister. She said she feels like my sister is more sorry she was caught, but Sammy appreciated apology. My brother had to endure a very uncomfortable few weeks at work while Sammy was traveling. I think by Thanksgiving, he was confident that Sammy wasn't going to screw with his job. When Sammy got back to work after our vacation, he went to her office to apologize. Again, I think he apologized just to appease us. But he did it in person and didn't try to cop out. Like my sister, Sammy feels neutral about him. My other sister, my brother's twin, is the only holdout. She hasn't given Sammy an apology and seems pissed that she no longer has a built-in free babysitter. She's doubled down and said she has nothing to apologize for, and Sammy's the one causing troubles. This has caused a bit of a rift in my family. My parents would like Sammy and I to come to Christmas dinner, but I'm not interested in being around my sister right now, and I'm not going to subject Sammy to that. My parents have even suggested that my sister should stay home to make us more comfortable in coming. While I appreciate the sentiment, I would feel guilty about my sister being alone on Christmas. Her kids will be with her dad. Sammy and I have plenty of offers from friends, while my sister would probably not be able to find a place to go on short notice. Sammy's told my parents she would rather not create a bigger rift and will come over at another time. Sammy told me, privately, that while she has forgiven my family, she's not all that comfortable hanging out with my family just yet. I'm perfectly okay with this. I feel like taking some time from my family will be a good thing. Sammy and I are still deciding where to go on Christmas, probably to my best friend's house. The best part of the update, my best friend's wife went ring shopping with me. She let me go to all the chain stores and balked at the prices for the same ring in every store. She eventually took me to a local jeweler and we discussed a custom ring. The jeweler completely understood what I wanted, and I decided she would be great at designing a ring. She's pretty backed up with orders and said she'd be able to get to it in January. A few nights ago, she texted me a picture of a stone she had found to see if it fit what I had in mind. Sammy saw the text, and it led to an impromptu proposal. She said yes. So now I have a fiancé. We haven't really told anyone yet. I'll tell my family at some point, but for now, I'm enjoying sharing this time with her. So things are okay. Better than I hoped since my last post. I'm very sad about my sister because I miss her and her kids, and I miss my family, but I feel good about my decisions. I feel like things will get better with my family, except my sister, in time. Sammy liked the idea of a destination wedding next summer, but we haven't even started any planning yet. Sammy told me after everything that's happened with my family, she feels confident that I have her back and that she finally has me as her true family. Very nice, congrats. Though I'm appalled that the one who should have been her supporter is the one held out. Your sister trusts her to babysit but talks trash on her and won't apologize? Messed up. I honestly think my sister's pride is getting in the way. She's not one to back down or submit, especially when she's wrong. I hope she'll pull her head out of her behind at some point. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with your sister, but shakeups like this can be the best time to switch gears. Have you spoken to her directly and privately? I would reach out, preferably in person, and lay it all on the line. Find out her reasoning why she said what she has, then call BS. Counter with a nice thing Sammy has done for her sister by her own choice. Add a conversation by telling your sister that she's acting like an ugly person and you don't want her to be a part of your life until she corrects her mistakes. This leaves her an out. Say that Sammy's owed an apology and her entitlement needs to end. She's lucky that Sammy ever babysit, and she'll never find someone that cares as much. I don't know, I'm feeling feisty right now. I read that you're skipping Christmas with family because you feel bad for sister. If you don't confront her, do not skip future family events. Let the family's choice of attendance do your talking for you. Keep a hard boundary though. Neither you nor Sammy should attend nuclear family events with a sister until the issue is resolved. Don't let time sweep it under the rug. That's a very good idea. And I think I would partly enjoy calling her on all her crap. I hope my dad talks some sense into her because he has expressed how disappointed he is with her behavior. She's a daddy's girl and his disappointment carries a lot of weight. If not, I'll talk to her and not tiptoe around her pride. Now for the last story. My 26 female sister, 30 female, wants me to give her the baby I'm carrying. My husband died a month ago. Before that, we actively tried for a baby for the past 2 years. He had low count, and it was extremely difficult for us since we had to keep trying the old way, because we couldn't fund the IVF process. It didn't make sense to us to go through that, and then being bankrupt when the baby came. 2 weeks after his passing, I found out that I was pregnant. It was so bittersweet. I love my husband with all my heart, and having his child as a dream came true. But I can't keep this baby alone. I have to leave the house by the end of the year, move back with my parents, and basically start over. I'm not economically, mentally, or emotionally stable to have this baby by myself, and it's so unfair to bring it into a chaotic environment just for my selfish wishes. So I decided to terminate. I felt so alone that I want to see my sister and talk about her. I know that my parents will never allow or forgive me for doing this, and I thought that I had a safe place in her. I came undone and told her how I was feeling, how I couldn't keep this baby, and how much that broke my heart because it was the last piece of my husband. Instead of supporting me, she has this bright idea. I can give birth and let her and her husband adopt it. Like mine, her husband has low count and they've tried to get pregnant for over 8 years. I said that I wasn't sure, and she told me that if I did it, I could keep seeing him, and some part of my husband will remain in this world. I was about to agree, when she saw me doubting and said that if I refused, She's gonna tell my parents about it. It was the threat that infuriated me, so I left. I don't have that many friends and I don't know what to do. I don't want to lose my baby, that's true. But at the same time, I'm not sure I can find a proper life for them. I feel like everything is falling onto my shoulders and I don't know who to trust. Now for the advice. I've actually known several women who have lost their partner while pregnant. Almost all of them felt like you. I no longer wanted to be pregnant. If you have time, give yourself some breathing room. You are grieving and everything seems like a mountain to climb. Seek some counseling if you can. Best of luck. Whoa, that's insane. Instantly makes me think, do not give this woman a child to mess up. Seriously, do what you gotta do, but remove giving the baby to her as an option. And maybe don't trust your sister again. Just be careful that your sister doesn't tell your parents first, and manipulate them into pushing you to give your child to her. Even if she doesn't disclose it first, she'll try this afterwards as that is her agenda. Take care.